Saturday! So, oh my goodness, a lot has been going on. This has been a busy time of year, just readjusting my camera. So yeah, I hope you guys are all having a good start to your weekend, or possibly maybe the start to your weekend started last night. Um, I know many people were celebrating Dia de los Muertos last night. Well, part one, that's usually for the niños, the children, is on the first, and then on the second, today would be the adults for Dia de los Muertos, and also All Souls Day. So yeah, I hope you guys are having fun, or maybe if you don't celebrate that, maybe you celebrated Samhain, or maybe you celebrated Halloween, or maybe you just found it a nice time to chill. So yeah, you guys update me. So what did you guys do for this time of year, the 31st, the 1st, maybe today, the 2nd, maybe you got some plans. So yeah, and I have my tea this morning is in my Viper Bee mug. So not really sure what kind of tea the dude made me this morning. He actually surprised me with some tea because usually I am the one that makes all the tea in the house. But yeah, he surprised me this morning and he put it in my special mug. So yeah, I definitely have to update you guys on last night. Oh, and the weekend before. That's right, because I didn't do a live chat last weekend because I was up in Marietta meeting with a friend of ours. Um, I just got a text message from my friend that I'm going to be meeting tomorrow. Well, actually, me and the dude are going to be meeting her and her dude tomorrow up at Knott's Berry Farm. And she was just texting me. She's like, hey, if you got any leftover candies, don't forget to bring some. Because she's, hold on, I have an eyelash. She's known as the Marsha Monster. She has quite the sweet tooth. Like, it's insane. She'll wake up at 3 a.m. just to eat candy. Like, she has like a candy addiction. So we always make sure that we have like a good amount of candy here at the house if she ever comes to visit. Okay, hold on. I have like a really nasty eyelash in my eyeball. I have these like shark's teeth eyelashes that ring my entire eye, and I always get eyelashes in my eyeball. Okay, should be fine now. I'm sure that's what you wanted to see, me pulling at my eyeball. You're like, thanks. Anyway, and I have a couple of things to show off to you guys. I'm looking at like my books and my decks and stuff like that. But let's fill you guys in with well, last weekend. So last weekend I went up to Marietta. We went up to see our friend and her husband and her daughter. And she, okay, like Samhain is like her time of the year. She usually always holds like a huge like Halloween party, but she didn't this year because, well, her mother passed away not too long ago, and so she felt it would be like a little inappropriate maybe, you know, where she's not really in the party mood, you know, right now, but she still of course goes all out to decorate her house and, you know, to do all the things. She just didn't feel like having the stress of having a bunch of people over when she's a little stressed out already, still dealing with all the stuff that you have to deal with when somebody passes away who's close to you. You know, you have to deal with like all the material stuff, and you got to deal with like, you know, all the finances and all of that. So she's a little stressed out with that. So I understand. And we were like, you know, we'll just kind of come on over and we'll just like hang. And she was like, cool. And so she's from Boston, so she wanted to make us like her specialty, like Italian meatballs and stuff like that, Boston style. And yeah, so we had like some pasta, we had her gigantic meatballs and marinara sauce, and her whole house, oh my gosh, it's like she transforms the whole house into Halloween. Like everywhere you look, like every picture on the wall, everything on every shelf, every mantle, like everything, like she literally clears out the whole house and like puts Halloween in the house. Like everything, everywhere you look is Halloween. Like I think it could be used as like a show house for Halloween. Like it's not like, oh, looks like you kind of decorated your house from Halloween. It's like, oh no, I walked into the Halloween house. It's freaking awesome. And I don't know why I didn't post any of it on my Instagram stories, because I know you guys would have probably enjoyed seeing her house as well. And Wasima, hey! It says, you guys are, okay. So I didn't, I didn't know you guys were going on with the Cats Live program. So, okay, well, I just popped on here. But yeah, I guess you and Steph, 7 minutes left. Oh, well, never mind then. I guess I will catch you guys. Oh, I can't do next weekend. Next weekend is me and the dudes anniversary weekend. It's our 13-year anniversary. So I'll probably have to jump in with you guys during Steph's live, Saturday live. Yeah, we don't have our time shift until tomorrow. So tomorrow. So yeah, so that's when we throw our clock back. We fall back. We fall back an hour tomorrow. Yeah, so yay. So yeah, Wasima, I will catch up with you and Steph probably after this live chat, and then I'll be able to see what you guys are doing, and I'll have to find the link to look at the live chat that you guys were doing. So yeah. And so those of you that are watching, there is a connection with cats, so kind of connecting to the realm of cats program that Wasima from Wasi Magic and Steph from Journal du Femme Moderne et Spiritual, Steph and myself, yes, are doing for the love of cats. And so it's different like meditations and healing and journaling and card pulls and diving into basically the animal medicine for cat, as we know that there are a lot of places that we can receive healing and medicine from, and also guidance and learning how to maybe utilize spiritual tools within ourselves that we didn't even know existed. And like, who better to do that than than kittens, right? So all right. So continuing on, yeah, so we were really happy to go over to our friend's house, and like her whole front yard had like witch statues, and it was graveyardy, and it was pretty cool. And Patsy is here. Hello. So yeah, and then I did a reading for my friend as well, because I owe her a couple of readings, although she's like, you don't owe me anything, because she backed my Wally's World Oracle, and she was like one of my top supporters, so it came with a reading, but she like did that backing like twice, so I owe her 2 readings, and she was like, you don't owe me, and I was like, girl, I love to read. So yeah, so I did a reading for her, and it was, I think, pretty beneficial. She really enjoyed it. And then yesterday, oh my gosh, yesterday was my friend's, what year is this? 6th or 7th annual Dia de los Muertos party that he throws, he and his husband. And they also go all out. They decorate everything with the sugar skulls and the calaveras and like Dia de los Muertos, everything. It just looks beautiful. They have the candles everywhere. Lots of pan dulce, so lots of sweetbreads, and there was churros, and there was all kinds of deliciousness. And me, who hardly has any sugar, I was like on a sugar high, eating everything. And then what we do is, so it's a group of friends. We all come and we bring something to eat and or drink that the people that we want to connect with enjoyed during their life, or just kind of to share. And they also bring the pan de muertos, so it's like the bread that's just meant for the dead, like as a food offering for them, so that they can come and eat with us, although some people ended up eating some of the pan de muertos. So that's fine too. And then you bring pictures of your loved ones, and we just we have this like my friend Scott has this like really long table, and then we put all the pictures up there and everything, and then he has a friend named Mary Street, who I believe she has a YouTube channel here, but mostly she does like classes and things like that, but she's a very gifted medium, and so she kind of gets into the zone, and then she goes around the table and she tries to connect with at least one of the pictures that you brought of a loved one that you wanted to connect with. And so she does that for every single person. So everybody gets a reading who's there at the table. And she was talking about her mediumship style has changed, where before it would be, she would kind of interpret the message from spirit and she would give you the message. She said, was it nowadays, she has decided to deliver the message in a way that's appropriate for the person receiving the message. Like some people physically would appreciate it if their loved one were speaking directly through the medium, you know, through another person, you know, so it was like they're standing right there. Whereas for another person, that might freak people out. It's like, oh my God, this woman's possessed, you know? So she said she now is more open to allowing the use of her voice and her body to be used in a way that's appropriate for the person receiving it. So if jumping into her body and like giving a message to somebody would freak somebody out, like then spirit's not going to do it that way. So I thought that was interesting. She allowed that to happen, I think, twice during, you know, the whole event after we had finished eating, although I was still kind of munching on a churro, like, while she was reading for people. And then, I don't know, my dude and I are usually one of the last couple of people to receive a reading like every year, but you know, it's like, I don't know. Spirit's always like, I see that our spirits are always like, you guys go ahead, you get your readings, we'll wait in line, we'll wait till everybody's done. Hey Lady Night, how's it going? So yeah, I think my dude, he brings the same picture every year. It's a picture of his mother with our cat, our old cat Presley, and her cat George. And George is still alive. George is, you know, at his folks' house. But you know, in the picture is Presley and his mom. And so those are the two people that he misses most. So that's the picture that he always brings. And so she came over and she read him first. And the first thing that came through, she said the entire evening, she was like, all your cats are there. She's like, all your cats are with you. Oh, and look who comes into the room. It's Wally. She's like, all your cats are always with you. And he's like, yeah, I know. And she's like, especially that one in the picture. And she was like pointing to Presley. And she was like, he has a very dominant personality. She goes, and it's a boy, isn't it? And he's like, yes. And she's like, did he used to mark things? Like, did he used to spray? And we're like, no, he never sprayed. But he used to rub, you know, cats have glands kind of in the side of their face, like near their whiskers. And so when they rub things, that's like their way of marking their territory. So although he never sprayed, he used to mark like everywhere in the house. And in our apartment where we used to live, he used to mark all the walls. And he marked us like all the time. So she said he was very like, this is my stuff, my things. And that makes sense because he was very protective of his home and of us. And she said that she had this feeling like she was like, he was an indoor cat, wasn't he? And we said, yes. And she said, well, we have this, she goes, I have this feeling like he always wanted to see what was outside. He always wanted to go outside. He wanted to be free. And we said, well, that makes sense more for when he got sick. Because when he got sick, we were trying to find ways to kind of like make his days more fun and more lively and more adventurous. So we started letting him go out in our backyard. You know, we'd of course accompany him, but it wasn't like he was going to run away or anything. So he would go out there, and we usually just go sit in the yard. He'd maybe chase a couple of birds and maybe a couple of lizards, but for the most part he would just lay in the sun and we'd sit with him. We'd take him out in the evening, we'd take him out in the morning, and when I'd take him out in the morning, I'd usually have my tea with me, so that's why I wrote my little children's book. I haven't ever gotten it published, but I wrote a little kid's book, and it was called Tea with Presley. So it was kind of nice, you know, to kind of hear that. And of course the medium, Mary, she was also gave a message about my dude's mother, you know, that basically you know, because she was like, did something come around like a second time? And it was her cancer basically that came around a second time, because she had stage 4 cancer, breast cancer, back in 2005, and then she had like a really full, happy life for a good 9.5 years, you know, and then the cancer just kind of came back with a vengeance, you know, and basically was in her lungs and her liver and her brain and, you know, everywhere. And it was a very, very quick passing. And so she said that basically his mother was a fighter. And then at some point she made peace with what was going on. And he says, so she didn't want my dude to think that his mother was, upset with her passing, you know, that she was upset at the disease or upset with how she passed or upset, you know. She said that basically, at the last like day or so, she kind of came to terms with it and was okay, and she had given the consent that she was ready to go. So, and that's, you know, always really comforting. You know, I like the feeling of people going on their own terms and not, you know, it just doesn't sit well with me when, you know, people we love, you know, maybe didn't want to go. You know, that always, maybe that's just for us here on earth, you know. I get upset about that stuff, and maybe it's totally different on the other side, you know, and they see things in a way that we can't comprehend, but, you know, still, it's still sad. So I'm gonna have some tea. But then she decided to do a reading for me. And see, I enjoy getting readings. I mean, yes, I'm a medium myself. You know, I give messages from spirit to people. I read for people. You know, I do all of that stuff. But, you know, and I know that some of you guys do too. But it's always appreciated when somebody can do that for you. You know, like for me, I appreciate, you know, getting a tarot reading, or I appreciate, you know, having a medium, you know, give me a message, because it's from a, I think when we're doing messages for ourselves, it's a little, it says, I'll be in India or outside, where my life will flow. Oh, Manoj Kumar. I'm not doing readings right now. I'm just kind of talking about the readings that were given to us yesterday. So I'm just kind of going over all of that. So yeah, it was, oh, hold on, did I pass somebody? Okay. So it was really, you know, when somebody has like an outside perspective and they don't know the person and they don't know your life, and you get a reading, you know, to me, it's just more affirming to things that you already know, but it's like more of like a affirmation, like, or a reconfirmation and affirmation, a confirmation that what you're feeling is, you know, is true. Because, you know, sometimes we need that. Hey, Keith, long time no see. So yeah, so she looked over and she's like, oh, did you decide to bring your whole altar? Because I brought 3 pictures, and they were kind of like in an 8x10 thing. I just kind of put the 3 pictures in there. So one of the pictures was of my grandfather and my grandmother on my mother's side. And the other one was my Nana, which is my dad's mother. And then the other one was my friend who I ran track with at Long Beach State, you know, when we were in college. And she passed away when she was 23 from large B-cell lymphoma. And that was the person that came through. And that's actually, that's the first time I actually ever brought her to, you know, the Dia de los Muertos party. And so Mary Street, who came by, was like, she says she's saying, she goes, is this the first time you've ever brought her picture? I'm like, yeah. She says she's saying she feels really honored to be here, you know, amongst all the others. You know, she was very happy you brought her this time. And I was like, okay, cool. And then she made a little joke about track and field, and I was laughing. She says, well, that's just to let you know that it's her coming through. And she was like, you guys were really competitive. And I was like, we were. I was like, she was uber competitive. I was like, and me, you know, I'm a pretty laid back, like easygoing person, but like you get me on the track or you get me in the weight room, I get pretty competitive. So yeah. so she was bringing me messages from, my friend's name was Brandy, Brandy with two eyes. So our athletic academic advisor used to call her Brandy I. He's all Brandy I. But anyway, and he said that at her funeral too, which he would be the one to kind of lighten the mood, you know, all the time. But yeah, I didn't realize how much like unresolved stuff I still had around my friend's passing, because you know I understood she had cancer. I understood like all of, you know, like, you know, there wasn't anything else they could do for her. Like I understood all of that, and I understood, you know, and I thought she had a beautiful funeral. You know, I thought, you know, it could, everything couldn't have been more perfect for her. So I thought I was okay, sort of inside, you know, that I had dealt with all that stuff. You know, sometimes we think we're like, good, okay, I'm good, you know, I think there was closure, all of that. But then she started bringing in messages from my friend, and I tell you what, it was hard to hold it together. I mean, I did, because, like, you know, I don't want to, like, bawl in front of everybody. So I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna hold it together. I'm like, as I'm like hearing these messages. And they weren't bad messages at all. It was what I needed to hear. So, that basically, you know, she was saying that my friend Brandy, you know, that body that she was in, that cancerous body, you know, and how much it had basically destroyed her body, that's not how she wanted to be remembered. And she was basically finished. You know, she was kind of thrown in the towel, so to speak, that she was done. And she felt like everything that she came to do in this life, you know, was done, and she felt like she did a pretty good job, and she was okay with herself. And she was the one that gave consent, because she had a choice. Her choice was she could continue fighting and maybe live it out a little while longer, or she could choose to go to the other side. And so for me, it was really comforting to know that it was her choice to go. Because in my brain, you know, I think of myself as an athlete that, like, I fight and fight and fight and fight. And, like, that's what I've always done. Like, I'm a fighter. And so I guess I was, like, superimposing that on my friend, who I know was fighting. And to me, it felt like she was, like, her life was taken too soon. Like it was stolen from her. And that's how I felt, you know, which made me really angry and really upset. You know, thinking that something was taken when it shouldn't have been taken. And that maybe that made her upset that she couldn't be here. You know, and so it was nice to know that it was on her terms. Like, whew, I felt such release yesterday. And now I kind of know what it feels like when I give messages to other people, and when they tell me that it was exactly what they needed to hear. Because I was like, whew, that felt so good. I'm like, and if that's what I do for other people, like, heck yeah. Because, you know, it was just like, whew, like, oh my gosh, okay. Yes, yes, okay. You know, and also it was interesting to see that, like, wow, you know, you're not okay with your friend's passing, and it's okay to, like, bring up these emotions again. And, you know, and I realized that I may have been suppressing some emotions subconsciously. And it was nice to kind of, like, let that out last night, and to finally have that all cleared up. So, I was really tired last night when I got home, but I was doing, like, a little connection with her, and it was nice. And I still feel like I need to do, like, a little meditation with her spirit, because I feel like her spirit's still kind of hanging out. And she was such a wonderful person. Like, yeah, she was the one that would, like, stick up for people all the time. She was always, like, encouraging people. Like, she was everybody's best cheerleader. She was also a really good role model, because that girl was, like, she was tough as nails. Like, she was a 400-meter hurdler. And if you don't know track and field, okay, the 400 meters is one lap around the track. Okay, so running as fast as you can one lap around the track is hard, but then you put hurdles in the way, it's even more hard. So those people, they have grit, they have iron lungs, they have legs of freaking, I don't know, like horses, like like they are just, they are beasts. And so whenever she felt like she wasn't running the time she wanted to run, she would stay like an hour to 2 hours after an already 3 hour practice. And she would keep just telling the coach, hey, Mia, or Maya. She would keep telling the coach, like, let's go again, again. And she would keep just running the hurdles, keep running the hurdles, and trying to get faster, trying to get lower, skimming over the top of the hurdle, because you want less airtime when you're going over a hurdle. And she would just like keep going, keep going. She was, and the coach would be like, dude, you gotta chill out, you gotta take a breather. And she's like, no. She goes, I am not satisfied with my performance right now. She's like, we're gonna keep going. And like, that was her. It was like her practice was finished when she said it was finished. Like, she was like, I don't care if these coaches have to stay out longer for me. She was like, if I'm not satisfied, they shouldn't be satisfied. That was always her thing. And so she always expected a lot out of us. And she was also our biggest cheerleader. And she was such a sweetheart. She was always thinking of everybody. So yeah, that was nice. It was a nice night last night. And I know many of you celebrated Dia de los Muertos last night. Well, last night was supposed to be more technically for the children. And then today is more for the adults. So Dia de los Muertos more for the adults. Lady Knight said she sounds really cool. She was pretty awesome. So yeah, she is missed, and her funeral, I mean, yes, sad, but it was perfect. She had a beautiful, wonderful funeral. Myself and her teammates and her friends and her family, and like, she had friends everywhere. She had like church friends and friends she made at the hospital, and doctors and nurses and all of that stuff. Yes, and everybody's spirit. So Patsy says, love getting a good message. Yes. So we had all met in this one place in Alamitos, up in Los Angeles, and her father was the chief of police. And so what he did was, once we got everybody together and everybody had the little, like, funeral thing that we put on the car so that we all stayed together and one long procession. Her white casket was in a beautiful white hearse, and she was going to be leading the charge. I had brought my brother with me at the time. This is 2005 when she passed. And I just needed some like support, while I was there. So I brought my brother. And so we all got in line. Her father had, the motorcycles, the police motorcycles leading the way. And they had shut down every single street leading up to her gravesite up at Rose Hill Cemetery. Manoj says, we keep on taking birth till we are refined to merge into the supreme energy. And yeah, I think I believe that too, that we keep coming back kind of like to earth school. We keep learning our lessons and keep trying to, yeah, kind of level up until, till we decide, we're going to stay over here. Hey, Jace. Hey. So yeah, I just remember this super long funeral procession, and like just like looking at, all these cops blocking all of these streets, leading up. Patsy believes that too. Yeah. And then we got to Rose Hill Cemetery, and she had a beautiful plot laid out up in the hills, and I remember seeing a deer up in the hills. It was so beautiful. It's surrounded by so much nature and beauty. It looks like you're in the middle of a forest, but you're in the middle of Los Angeles, and it's nice to like see Los Angeles kind of like blocked out by the beauty of nature. And so her casket was lowered into something I haven't seen before, but it was like a giant stone casket. Like her casket was lowered into a stone casket, and then like a stone slab was put over the top, and then the dirt was, put over. So it was like her casket was like entombed or something, to kind of, I guess, protect her or stuff. I don't know. But that's like what her family wanted. And then I remember that part's kind of a blur because I think I was really upset. So I don't remember too much after that. I kind of remember some of the track people getting together and they were taking a picture. I remember some people started singing a song by Alicia Keys. Like everybody wanted to like laugh and have fun because like that's how Brandy was. Like she wouldn't want us to be depressed at all. So we did that, and then her dad had us all meet at this like local restaurant, and basically he had the whole restaurant rented out us, and he said basically it was food and drink on the house, like whatever you wanted, you could eat as much as you wanted, you could, whatever. And his family was paying for it, and the police department had also chipped in a lot of money for her funeral. So basically people were laughing and talking and playing music and kind of, the way it should be, that you should be celebrating, instead of, at least in my opinion, instead of, being depressed that the person's gone, more a celebration of the joy of their personality and like who they were. And so it seemed like her parents were having a great time, and that was their only child, so it's not like she had brothers, sisters, or anything. And so, yeah, we just, I ate a lot of food. And then I remember my brother and I drove back home. And so, but yeah, it was a beautiful day, the bits and pieces that I remember, because I don't know, some stuff I guess you just forget when you're upset. But okay, so I hope you guys had, I don't know if some of you guys have been using this time to connect to ancestors, so do tell. Have you been, doing some readings from yourself? Have you been getting readings? Have you been connecting with spirit? Have you felt like the energy, shifting around this time? And, and it's a huge energy shift, whether you're in the northern or southern hemisphere. It's the changing of the seasons, the changing of the energy. So yeah, let me know. Manoj says, you can contribute to experiment where science gives up and you can contribute. Example, the black hole experience. No machine can test as of now or experience the sun's core where spirit can reach these places. Yeah, definitely. There's a lot that science can't explain, and I think one day in the far, 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 far future, science is going to be able to finally figure out that yes, hey, lo and behold, there is spirit, and hey, there's, all the things that a lot of people think are just make believe or superstition or that's not real. I think that one day, our culture as a human race is gonna be like, oh, we were so primitive back then not to think that there wasn't spirit and there wasn't like all these other dimensions. I think one day they'll figure that out. And Patsy said yes to all. Yes, here. Okay, so I brought some stuff by to show you guys, like I was just bringing it by. And one of them is a book that I'm about more than halfway through now, and I think it's a fabulous book. It's called The Sacred Herbs of Samhain. It's Plants to Contact the Spirits of the Dead by Ellen Everett Hopman. So this is the cover of the book. It's very interesting. There's a lot of herbs in here I've never even heard of. And some of the herbs in here are poisonous herbs, so obviously you don't want to ingest them. But they talk about like how to use herbs that maybe we wouldn't ingest and maybe we wouldn't even burn, but maybe like how we would bury it, or maybe how we would like use it like in creation of something, or like a little like sachet, or it's just really interesting. And there's a lot of different cultural like beliefs in here, and just I don't know fascinating. There's like recipes, which, you know, I love recipes. I love to bake. And I love to make teas, and there's a lot of that in here as well. Maya said, my grandfather's wake and burial was sad, but at least he didn't have cancer anymore. And I think that's, you know, a comfort, you know, to us, you know, on the side, you know, that, you know, I think it's, yes, I think a lot of us understand that, you know, when somebody dies, that's not the end. You know, obviously there, you can't kill spirit, you know, spirit's going to go on. But as human beings, it is really sad when somebody isn't here anymore, you know, because although we can feel their spirit, it's just, you know, it's not the same, you know, like let's say with my friend Brandy, I can't like call her up, I can't hang out with her anymore, although I, as of like right now, I know she's in the room with me, I can feel her spirit. And so it's like there's this like dichotomy, there's like this two parts of me where one part of me understands that she's not gone, and the other part of me is sad that she is gone. And the comfort is also that she's like alive and well on the other side. She doesn't have cancer anymore. She's not, you know, hurting anymore. That she's often doing whatever Brandy wants to do. she's doing whatever she does, you know. And so I think that's just something that we all maybe struggle with here on Earth, I guess, unless we're super leveled up and we're like not sad when people pass anymore. Like we totally see things differently. But for me, I'm like both happy and sad, you know. But yeah, so this book was very interesting. Where I'm on right now is Dittany of Crete. And it gives you like a little, like mythos background of like, you know, each of the herbs, which is kind of cool, like if it's connected to a particular culture. Like this one, it says this herb is sacred to Persephone and Osiris and is said to improve communication with the dead. And then there's like this, there's some stuff here from Aleister Crowley. There's also some other stuff about what Madame Helena Blavatsky had to say about it. And kind of how they used it in Greece. And then there's always a little caution here, you know, that if you are pregnant or breastfeeding, you know, you should avoid this, or people with photosensitivity, or if it's like super poisonous, it's like, hey, how about nobody ingest this? Patsy said, oh, fireworks are going off everywhere here. Oh, how cool. Hey, hey. I love me some fireworks. Fireworks are just so happy, which is why I had them in my my people skidding their tires outside, in my Wally's World Oracle. So yes, this is the Oracle deck I created, and it's on my shop if you're interested. But I have a card in here that I just had to have some fireworks in my deck because I think fireworks, I think that's an energy that you can, you know, meditate with. And Glitter Sunflower is here. Hey! Lady Knight said it's not even the 5th of November. Okay, let's see. I got my fireworks in here somewhere. It's probably going to be the last card. Is it? Is it? Let's see. Oh, and if you guys are actually interested in what my deck looks like, these are the backs of my cards. And yes, that's my rose from my rose garden, and that's my favorite stone, hemimorphite. And Soren, hey! Maya said, he is always here with me and he will always be here, and that's the same as my cousin Chris. May they rest in peace. That's beautiful. Yes, and of course they are always here. And that's really comforting to know. And you know, and I think it's such a gift when people can actually feel that their presence is there. I think that that's also really comforting. And Glitter Sunflower said, oh, I know, my poor little dog. Oh, talking about the fireworks. Oh, here we go. Here's the fireworks. So yes, by the way, those are my beautiful borders are my roses from my rose garden. And you have like my little cat Wally. He's my little puma. He's hidden in all of the cards because he's like meant to be like your animal guide, but he's like in the background, you know, just kind of watching, kind of helping you. But yeah, I thought fireworks, we need that for healing and meditation. Like who doesn't Who doesn't need some fireworks? Well, probably not poor animals where the fireworks are going off over their head, because that freaks them out. But for meditation, it might be delightful. Okay, I also wanted to show you guys, okay, so this deck, I haven't actually had a chance to go through the cards because yesterday I had to go to, you know, my friend's party, and it came yesterday, and that is the Velleda Oracle. And actually one of my subscribers here on YouTube, I was watching one of her videos because she started making some YouTube videos, and I saw her using this deck and I was like, what? So I had to get it. So this, I believe, came from the UK. So it took a little while to get here. It says 54 full color eco-friendly cards designed and illustrated by Betty Skeet. So this is the Velleda Oracle. And oops, and it doesn't come with a guidebook, and I was reading on the website, the creator didn't want there to be a guidebook because she wanted it to be like 100% intuitive, and she didn't want to have any sort of influence at all. And that was what I initially wanted for my deck, but I ended up putting a guidebook anyway. But in the guidebook, it's not my interpretation of the cards. It's the just the thoughts and feelings of each person who donated a picture of their sacred healing spots. So it's like people from our community who donated those pictures, and then they talked about those pictures so that you can get an idea of where they were coming from. But it was not meant to influence like how you see the cards in any way. So I kind of like when people don't do guidebooks sometimes, because me, I'm an intuitive reader, so I'm like, okay, so it's all about like how I feel about the card, and I feel like pretty cool about that. So here are the backs. You know, I love me some color, and and here are the cards. Oh, Patsy said same here. So I love color, and I love when it pops, and I think that this very plain background really makes the images pop and really makes the messages pop, and I think it is so freaking cool. Maya said, I have 3 pets, 1 dog and 2 cats. Oh, wow. I just have two kitty cats. One is a puma, one's a panther. Our panther is Loki. Our puma is Wally. Wally gets offended when you call him a cat. He's like, I'm not a cat, I'm a puma. And then, oh, Lady Knight said it looks really nice. Patsy has 3 dogs. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I used to have a dog. I had a little Maltese that actually found me when she was on the street. She found me at track practice one day, and then she jumped into my mother's car when I got in the car, and like she refused to leave. And we even took her to the animal shelter, hoping that like whose ever dog this was like would claim it. And nobody claimed her. She became my dog, and her name was Precious. So Precious was my little white Maltese. She was a sweetie. And when I moved away to college, you know, and was living up north, wow, these are really cool. I haven't had a chance to look through them, so I'm kind of like also looking on my phone at these. But yeah, when I couldn't take care of her anymore, and my mom and my dad had gotten a divorce, and like both of where they were living, they couldn't have animals, we decided, since it was my dog, that my grandfather would take care of her. And oh my gosh, my grandfather spoiled my dog, and that became like his dog. Like Precious loved my grandpa so much. My grandpa is also passed now, but my dog, come to find out, loved riding on his motorcycle. So he would travel the country with Precious on his motorcycle, and apparently the dog would like run out there and jump on his bike and be like, let's go for a ride. And like the dog had goggles, the dog had like all of her gear when she'd go traveling the country. So yeah. Wow, these are really nice. Ooh, let's see, how many people do we have in here? You know, I think YouTube's numbers are kind of messed up, because it goes back and forth. It'll say like there's 8 people, 1 people, 5 people. So right now it says there's 1 person, but I know there's more than 1 of you watching. So Maya said my cats are both calico kittens, Luna and Reese. Aww. I love those names. Oh, last night, the house that we were at, my friend Scott and his husband Ariel, their dog's name is Luna. Such a sweet doggy. Lady Knight said, I see 15. Oh, and then she also said, I have 2 cats, even featured in my last video. I will have to go check that out, actually. Gotta see everybody's kittens. Ooh, I love the energy coming off the cards. And you know what? The cards are warm. And they've been sitting on the floor. And it's kind of cool in the house. I mean, it's hot outside, but it's cool in the house. P.S. Fall and autumn looks very different here in San Diego. Soren said, I see 16 people watching. That's interesting. Mine says it's been stuck on 1. That's so weird. That's why I've been like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. Just me and one other homie. That's okay. We gonna have an intimate conversation. Wow. Okay, so I'm just going through all the cards with you guys, but they just feel, they feel good and they feel warm, kind of like crystals do. I've never really had a deck that like felt warm. That's usually how I connect with crystals. Like they'll have a vibration to them. They'll sometimes emit a heat or a cooling energy. But I've never had that with the deck, and this deck is warm. Lady Knight says, I usually don't go for lots of yellow or orange in cards, but these look really nice with the black background. They do. Hey, what's up, James? He said, hey-o. I'm just going over the Valletta Oracle right now. So this is something that came yesterday, and I haven't had a chance to really look at it because I was chilling at my Dia de los Muertos party. Maya said my dog's name is Chanel, and she is a bully pit. Aw, so little Chanel. Ooh, sounds like a spoiled puppy. Wow, this is really nice. And you know, for the cardstock, it's like kind of linen-y, but the images, you can feel the images. They're kind of raised off of the cardstock a little bit. It's actually pretty nice. Light of Raga asks if I have the Celtic Tarot. I don't, actually. Says, I was just gifted it and I fell in love instantly. It feels warm to me too. Yeah, like, dude, I've, usually, like, I'll feel a good energy off of a deck, but I've never felt heat. I'm like, ooh. So, well, okay, I'm like, okay, my moderator isn't here to write down all of your names because I want to do like a one card pull for you guys, just like general, but I want it to come from spirit, either your spirit guides or somebody who's crossed over. So, you know, I thought that would be appropriate for, you know, today and kind of like this time. But, you know, if you guys get a reading, I just, I don't want to miss everybody because I know there's going to be a lot of people who probably want one, and I'm going to have to like do the little scroll through on my phone. I just know that I don't want to miss you guys. So maybe just like do it in all capitals, like, hey, yo. Yeah, please. Lady Knight can make the list. That would be really helpful. Could you do that, please? Because I'm like, I wouldn't be able to keep track of everybody, and I would hate to have anybody feel left out and be like, well, I guess I'm not special. And I want you guys all to feel like you're special because you are. So yay. Okay, so Lady Knight's gonna grab your names, so you let her know, and I'll do a 1 card pull from this deck because obviously it wants to be read with. Okay, oh, Chanel is 5 years old and my little brother loves her. Aww. Okay, so let's actually get this deck all kinds of mixed up. So while you guys are letting Lady Knight know, if you would like a 1 card pull, oh, and Abundance Tarot is here. Hey! So we're busting out my brand new deck, the Valletta Oracle. And since it was feeling rather warm, I thought, hey, why not do a 1 card pull? So I'm just going to do a 1 card pull, so it's no questions or anything. And I'm just asking that Spirit come through with the message. So it could be somebody that you actually knew in this lifetime, or previous lifetimes, or maybe it's one of your guides. Abundance says, I'm hopping chats tonight. No problem. I do that too. I'll be like looking at like 4 different chats. I'll be like popping back and forth. Okay, so I want to get these really mixed up because it's the first time they're getting shuffled ever. So let's do that. They shuffle like a dream. Okay. All right, Lady Night. Who did we have first on the list? I feel it's so like really warm and happy right now. It's like warm and inviting in here. Abundance says there's so much fun ones, and now so they're on. They were online too. Yeah. Maya said. Okay, so you guys were just kind of letting. Okay, Lady Night know, and Lady Night said that Christina is first. Hey, Kawaii Chibi, how are you? Okay, so Christina, let's do this with the Valeda. And so usually whenever I am pulling a card, if any music comes to mind or any images pop up, I usually let you know before I pull the card, and then we try to like put all that stuff together. But for this one specifically, I'm asking for spirit to come through. Kawaii says, I'm doing well. How are you? I'm doing fantastic. I got a really nice reading from a medium last night. And I always appreciate getting readings from like other people. You know, I love doing readings for you guys, but it's always appreciated when you like get a reading too. Okay. Christina. So like I said, this is messages from spirit. That's what I'm asking. So I'm asking Amara. And Amara and Ulag are my spirit guides. They're like my main guides. So I'm just asking if they could please bring forward. Okay, Christina, I'm getting a male presence, an older male coming through. Okay, I'm hearing the song Time of My Life. This is the time of my life, and I never felt like this before. I swear it's the truth. And I owe it all to you. That is such a good song. So Christina, that song is playing. Oh, she said it's her dad. Well, hey. He's got a really nice energy. He's got a very, to me, it's like Big Daddy Teddy Bear. You know, that kind of like big guy, but kind of like a big teddy bear. That's kind of the energy that I'm getting. Kawaii said, that's awesome. I did a reading for a reading with a friend reader as well this week. It was great. Oh, and your dad loved music too? Well, that's the song he is playing right now. So I don't know, maybe later today, why don't you play that song at your house? Okay. So what would you like Christina to know? I kind of feel like he came up behind me and he kind of did like the arm, not in a creepy way, but like, you know, like kind of like coming up behind you to give you a hug. And all I could see was like his big ring. Like there was a big gold ring on his hand, but it's like this really warm presence. And I don't really see